Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Kerman, and I'm just very happy to welcome you to this meet and greet with Diana Fosha. We'll be talking about her Cancun program, and I'll be providing other information about lots of things related to Cancun. Just a few technical things of how we're going to work is, number one, you may see Emily Porter on the screen. She's officially our hostess with the mostess, which means that she's there for you and for Diana and for me in any way she can help out. If you have a question for Diana or for me, you can either put it in the chat box, and Emily will be keeping an eye on that and call people to the screen, or read a question. If you don't want to come to the screen, that's fine. We'll also provide closed caption. If you'd like to see the words as long as hear them, I know some people will be watching this video later. It's enabled under live transcription, and you can go to the bottom of your Zoom screen and see that. So we'll be going on for about a half an hour. And first, I'd like to welcome Diana here today for our program. Hi, Diana. I'm just so glad. You know, you were one of the first people I thought of. We were going to do this in Cuba a few years ago before, thanks to Donald Trump, that never happened. So, and you're the only one who's doing 2 weeks of all our illustrious presenters. And we'll talk about why. And I thought we should start off, Diana, with you just talking a little bit about AEDP and its development, and then go on to why you're offering 2 different weeks and who they're aimed at. So hi, Diana.
Hi, Michael, and hello, everybody. I am so happy to see all of you showing up and coming to this talk. Hope we'll see you again in sunny Cancun. It's such a pleasure. Like Michael said, this was initially planned for Cuba a few years ago. So now this is being reprised in Cancun. And I'm so honored to be doing these 2 workshops. So let me just say a few words about AEDP for those of you who are not familiar with it. AEDP, first of all, it's a mouthful, but it stands for Accelerated Experiential Dynamic Psychotherapy. And it is, in essence, an approach that specializes in treating attachment trauma. And there's so many things that I could say about it, but I want to focus on a couple of things. And I wanted to tell you the title of the new book that came out, which captures 3 elements of it. The title of the new book that came out this summer is called Undoing Aloneness and the Transformation of Suffering into Flourishing. And that title captures 3 pieces that are crucial to AEDP. One is this essence of the relational element and the essential nature of the relationship between the patient and the therapist, this element of undoing aloneness, and the therapist's being a big part of that, the therapist's self with heart and soul being involved in the therapeutic relationship in, of course, a boundaried and yet soulful, heartful way. First. Secondly, the focus on the transformation of suffering, the transformation of trauma, particularly attachment trauma, using experiential and relational techniques in a way that makes tremendous use of the latest that we've learned from brain science and neuroplasticity, and putting that, translating it into our relational and experiential work. And the third piece is not stopping at working to only transform trauma, but in one fell swoop, also working to promote flourishing. And working to promote flourishing, not just at the end of the treatment, but as part and parcel of the same process, so that in the same session, we're working to undo aloneness, process trauma, and also work to promote flourishing as part and parcel of the same therapeutic process, that as an aspect of what the patient and the therapist are doing together as a way of relating together. I hope that makes some sense. I've said a lot. And I see some head nods, which I thank you for, because at least I have some sense that at least some of you are relating to what I'm saying. So I thank you for that.
So Diana, when we talked about this, initially we were talking about 1 week as kind of an introduction, or people know a little bit about AEDP or you, and then you talked about some of your new ideas and how AEDP is moving ahead. And some people have been trained in this already and trained with you or people on the AEDP training staff. And then we came up with the idea of the second week. So tell us a little bit about both weeks and what some of your hopes for the 2 weeks are.
Yes, with pleasure. And also, like when Michael called me, which was just about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, it was January 2021, and we were thick into COVID, and it was before the vaccine or I guess we're just beginning, maybe with the vaccine, hopeful about it, but very much in COVID isolation. And he asked me, do you want to teach in Cancun in the sun? Before I even knew very much about it, I said, yes, absolutely. Right. And it was just this opportunity, not just to share this work that I'm so passionate about, but also to finally share it and be in person. And, much as Zoom has been a gift during this period of COVID, nevertheless, be able to be in a room together, but not just in a room together, but also share nature together and have fun together and so on and so forth. So the idea of the 2 weeks was this. The other piece about AEDP and being experiential is that we teach and practice from videotape. So what I'll be doing in both weeks is that I will show you and I will teach from videotapes of actual therapy sessions, not actors, but with my generous patient's permission, I'll be using real videotapes to teach from and demonstrate, right? So it's very real and very experiential. So week 1, the first week, is teaching AEDP for anybody who wants a refresher course, for people who have had some exposure to AEDP and want to re-experience it while being at the beach, for people who have never experienced it and want to learn an experiential modality for teaching, experiential relational modality, I should say, for working with attachment trauma, as well as people who really have no experience with it. And I will do so using one complete 6-session treatment. I did one brief therapy. So I will use this one complete therapy to illustrate AEDP. So that's really the introduction to AEDP. So we'll be able to really look at all elements of it in this 1 week. I will do the week 2 is meant to be for advanced AEDPers who know the basics, who have done some work in AEDP. And for them, I will use also one case from our research protocol. And this is a patient with complex PTSD, and who nevertheless was successfully treated in a 16-session modality. And I will also use this to teach from our recently developed scale, our 9 affective change processes, which is a way to explore teaching AEDP through the lens of these 9 affective change processes, and also look at how these different change mechanisms operate in AEDP through the lens of these one very complex treatment, of looking at how we can use AEDP's sort of almost hallmark relational methods with a patient who has had such complex trauma, for whom the very relational methods that we have used have been triggering. So how to process her traumatic reactions and yet process them through these kinds of quintessential relational methods, which is a more advanced aspect of AEDP work, both relational and experiential, which are with a more challenging patient. So those are the two workshops.
Thank you, Dana. And I realize we could probably spend the next hour going deeper into what is AEDP and your new book and everything else. So I would suggest to people who want to learn more, you go to the AEDP website, Google, look at your books, because there's so much there. So if you like that, there's an option. And so I'd like to move to Cancun and talk a little bit about what that week is like in other ways, because we really thought about what the whole week could be like for people, not just the course. And of course, we were concerned about COVID, and we still are. So I'll say a few things. And because we were getting a lot of questions, I did a little video called 8 Most Frequent Questions that we're getting. So Emily, you can send that out to people as well. But I'll say a few things first. And then we're going to open up for questions to either Diana or to me. So first, around COVID. First, we're asking everyone to be fully vaxxed and bring proof of either an antigen or a PCR test. And the hotel, which is part of a big American chain that runs a number of different kind of resort properties, looks like they have very good policies. You can read them on our website or their website. All their staff will be fully vaxxed and masked. Our meeting rooms are rooms with fairly high ceilings, which should be helpful. They have a friendly cancellation policy, as do we. And I really like the idea is that most of the time you can be outside. After our workshops, they have 6 restaurants, some of which are outside. They have snack bars. They're 24 hours, some of them are outside. You can eat on your balcony, and they have 24-hour room service. And this is all inclusive. So some people have asked, well, what is an all inclusive? And basically, once you get there, everything is included except a few exceptions, like if you want a spa treatment. But all your meals, all your snacks, the rooms are large and beautiful. You can look at them at their website. You can also check out TripAdvisor, which I checked out because there are a lot of options for hotels in the Cancun area. And this one had over 13,000 reviews on TripAdvisor, and it had an average 4.5 rating. I read what people had to say. I even watched videos, Dana, that people made last winter. People are going down there and they did videos. Here's my room, here's the restaurant, here's the pool. And these were just guests, not hotel advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that looks pretty good. So also we built in other perks, which we call Paradise Perks, is to realize that, the course in itself will be what it is. And I think all our courses look very, very interesting. And then at 12:30, people are free for the day, and you can decide to do whatever you want. Go to your room, go to the beach. There's a private beach there. There's pools. There's all kinds of entertainment and activities that are available to you, again, at no extra charge. But what else can we do to make it a week for people who want to connect with other people, which often is what makes vacations so special? So, for example, we're going to have daily yoga in the mornings, as well as a daily meet and mingle, which is kind of like a happy hour before dinner. Sometimes when you're all inclusive, you have all these choices of restaurants. It's nice to say, well, let's meet before at this spot. And if you just want to hang out, just hang out. And then it's a good place to say, hey, do you want to come for dinner? And that's going to be a daily event. We're going to have every Wednesday night a session with the speakers of that week. So when Diana, you're there, Lisa Ferentz, who's a very interesting therapist, you're going to like her, everyone does, will be there for the first Wednesday. And the second week, Janina Fisher and Frank Anderson will be there. So both of those Wednesday nights will be just kind of what's the state of therapy today. It's not going to be a lecture. It's going to be kind of informal talk together with interesting people. We've also invited each week a very interesting person. And the idea is, wouldn't it be cool to just have someone else there to make a presentation, to have lunch with, to talk at the happy hour? So the first week we have Roberto Perez, who is one of Cuba's leading environmentalists, and really someone who knows an awful lot about Cuba, its history, its current situation, all the health and services. He's really a wonderful human being and extremely knowledgeable. We've worked with him a lot over the years. And the second week, we're going to have Farzana Doctor, who is a Canadian author and a therapist. I've known Farzana a long time, and she has a therapy practice, and also she's been winning awards for her writing. She's a novelist, a short story writer, and a very, very interesting person. She'll be there to make presentations, maybe do some readings, and also come to the meet and mingles and just be there. Just for someone else, if you'd like to say, hey, Farzana, you want to have lunch together today? That's what she's there to do, just to be an interesting person for our guests to have a chance to spend time with. And all our perks are open to whoever comes with you. So if you are bringing a spouse or a partner or a friend, whatever, they're welcome to tell all those things. There's no extra charge for that. So there's a few things about the resort and the program. So right now, I'm happy to take any questions from anybody, either for Diana or for me, about anything that you've heard or anything you haven't heard that you would like to hear more about. So again, Emily will be looking at the chat line if you have any questions, or we can do an old-fashioned wave, or use the wave function, and you're welcome to join us. Emily, do we have any questions yet?
Not seeing any so far.
Okay. Diana, do you have any questions about what I've just said about the resort or the program or anything else that we haven't talked a lot about what's going to be going on down there, so I'm open to your thoughts or questions about the week and the place.
No, not so much. I think you talked a little bit about, you said something about there are a couple of trips that you plan.
Oh yeah, so we're working with a couple of things. We're working with actually, when the program first was announced, a woman who's a therapist from Canada, she lives in the area, Cancun area, and her husband or partner has a travel business that offers all kinds of tours. So I've been in touch with him, and we'll be offering 3 or 4 different programs after 12:30, not to conflict with the workshops, to go to some interesting places. Cancun has a lot going on, that whole area of the Mayan Riviera. We're actually south of Cancun, which is kind of nice, about 20 minutes from the airport. And along that Mayan Riviera, there are attractions, there are water parks, there are cenotes, which are caves with swimming in it. So you go in, and there are other things. So he's going to be sending the list of programs that will be offered. And also he'll be offering rides from the airport right to the hotel. So when people arrive at the airport, Diana, will be someone waiting for you to say, Diana Fosha, and pick you up and take you to the resort, and that's available to everybody as well. So Those are a few of the other bells and whistles and things that we'll be adding.
And really, if anybody, thank you, Michael. That's nice to know. And if anybody has any question about AEDP or about what I'll be teaching, I'm happy to answer that.
And if there are any experienced AED,
There
we're
is.
happy to hear from you.
Is there
Yes.
any prerequisite that Diana recommends to start with AEDP?
Not for the first week.
So the second week, the assumption is people have some experience,
Right.
have some training. So you're not going to be going over the basics. You're going to go right
Exactly.
into. And if people are interested in for both weeks, that's a possibility. Actually, we're offering a pretty good
Absolutely, that would be
discount.
okay.
We're offering a big discount for the second week of any of our programs if people want to go to more than one. And we're going to send also a discount code out for people who attend or watch this later. This just as another encouragement to join us there.
So for clarification, people who attend the first week will be ready to participate fully in the second week?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. We will consider you AEDP veterans by week 2.
How is AEDP different from other experiential modalities such as EFT, emotionally focused therapy, or Gestalt?
Yes, that's a very, okay. So EFT, I assume you're talking about whoever asked the question, EFT Les Greenberg's EFT, because that's for
Yes.
individuals rather than EFT Sue Johnson's EFT, which for couples. So the difference between AEDP and Les Greenberg's EFT, there's several, but the two that I would focus on is that is the focus, the direct focus on relational work. That in EFT, the therapist's empathy, the therapist's role is as a facilitator of the emotional processing, but that the focus is on the processing of the emotional experience. And for us, processing emotional experience is one of the affective change processes, but then actually focusing on the patient's experience of their relationship with the therapist and the dyadic affect regulation is another whole affective change process by which we work to heal attachment trauma. So I would say that's a huge, huge difference and a big aspect of AEDP. Probably one that also makes it different from Gestalt, though I think modern Gestalt also works with a relationship. Secondly, and also applies to both, the formal way in which we work with transformational experience and with positive affects. So that, for instance, when there's let's say that an emotion or a piece of traumatic experience is actually processed to completion, usually, and there's a feeling of satisfaction or relief or empowerment or clarity, whatever it is, and that's common to the experiential therapies. For us, that's the beginning of another whole round of therapeutic work. And we call it metatherapeutic processing, and it's extensive. And that's the flourishing part of what I teach. And it exists more informally in other experiential therapies, but it's a huge part of AEDP. So great question, and thank you.
Thank you. Another question is, what's the internet service like at the resort?
Thank you. That's a great question.
Don't you know the answer? No.
I do.
Apparently it works very well, and every room you can have 3 devices. And I've also been checking, TripAdvisor, people are saying it's all working well. So that's
I've
helpful.
also, from my understanding, it's not only in the room, but it's as well as in common spaces in the resort as well.
Okay. Right.
Last chance for questions.
We'll give it, I'll say a few things and then we can end. So this is the last call for questions. Thank you all for joining us. And what we do for everything, Diana, is we sent out this video to everyone who registered, because there are a lot of people who weren't able to be here live, and that's true for all our programs. So everyone's going to get within the next day or so a copy of this video. If you've come in late or you want something you want to see again, we'll also send the video of the most frequently asked questions, which was just done a few days ago. We'll send a coupon code if you'd like to attend with that discount. And if you have any more questions, of course, Emily will be sending that message. Just send them on and we'll be happy to answer any questions, because what we've realized through this is it's complex between the workshop and getting there and the hotel and all inclusive. There are a lot of things to consider. And of course, some people are writing, can this be a tax benefit? And of course, if you're in private practice, it would be. So Diana, thank you very, very much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in just a few months. It should be so nice. Thank you all for
these people.
Go ahead.
It's lovely to see all these people.
Yes.
Yeah, or to see the names anyway, and see a few faces.
Okay, thank you all. It's so nice to see both familiar faces for our past and new faces. I hope everyone has a great day and a great Thanksgiving in the States. And thanks again for watching. Have a great day.
Be well, everybody.